Just want to take a minute to show what we're doing here. We have a ton of broom sedge. This whole field, and the field below are reclaimed crop fields. The farmer planted corn, soybeans, a few other things in here over the last, decade or so. And he hasn't planted anything in this field in 3 years, and he hasn't planted anything in the lower field in 2 years. This field obviously looks a lot better. There's more green coming in. You can see an awful lot of brown all over the place. We've been unrolling hay bales since late fall, early winter of last year. We've covered every square inch of this field all the way around. But we're trying to rebuild the soil. We are trying to bring good grasses in from other farms. Buy hay from other people, don't hay your own farm. Thank you, Greg Judy, for teaching me that. But one thing that we have here along this patch of brush is a lot of broom sedge. It grows all through here, and it looks great for about a month. And then it doesn't look great at all. It turns into this brown stuff and the cows won't eat it. So what I'm doing is we no longer have any round bales, completely out of them. But I have a bunch of square bales, and I'm taking the square bales and I'm spreading it out all through the broom sedge. This is going to do two things. As you can see from Brutus over here, they are going to trample the broom sedge into the ground, helping to slow the growth, while also trampling the hay and the grass seed from the hay, and the clover seed and every other seed that comes with it, from the hay into the soil. They're also going to urinate and defecate all over everything, increasing the fertility and the soil life. We're hoping that by doing this, in a year or two, we can completely eliminate the broom sedge out of this entire area. But I went from right about there all the way up through to where Tank is standing. Yes, we name our cattle. Sorry, truck's a little loud. But yes, we name our cattle. It's not smart to name your cattle, but we do it anyways. No comments. But the reason we don't name them, and by the way, that's Tank, Millie, his mother, Annabelle, the big one in front of Millie. This is Kalua. This is, I'm sorry, that's not Annabelle, that's Molly. But this is Molly's son, Kalua, and this is Brutus. Now, all three of the boys here are steered, and we will be eating Tank and Kalua. Unfortunately, I want to show you, he's about 1.5 years old. He's probably around 1,000 pounds, give or take. Tank's a couple 100 pounds bigger, but he is 4.5 years old. He is a sale barn calf, bottle calf. We raised him. He was the best looking calf in the entire sale barn, and I bought him 4.5 years ago with the intentions of eating him, like I've done every other steer and bull that I bought. But my wife fell in love with this one, so he's with us. He's not going anywhere, and that's why, one of the reasons why you don't want to name your cattle. But and I know with the girls you can name them because you're not necessarily going to eat them, but what if you have to? I have a girl that hasn't given me a calf. She's 4 years old. If the bull doesn't take care of her this year, she'll be going to the butcher next year. So, and that was Annabelle, the one that I mistakenly referred to when I was talking about Molly. Anyways, we're trying to rebuild the soil here, put the hay down, and like I was saying, the cows will eat the hay, spread the seed, stomp the hay into the ground, stomp the broom sedge into the ground, and hopefully poop and pee all over the place, and we will have much better soil and less broom sedge. If you can improve the soil quality, you can eliminate undesirable plants like broom sedge or goldenrod or any of the other hundreds and possibly thousands of weeds that are out there. But yeah, just spreading a little bit of organic matter onto the ground, and you can see when they come through and eat a spot, they just poop all over it. So a couple of months, this whole area, this entire field, will be extremely fertile and green, lush, wonderful grass. And we are rotating these guys here very soon. I'm working on the lower pasture. You can't see it, it's on the other side of that hedgerow. But I'm working on the other side of the pasture. Hopefully I'll have that done in a week or two, and we'll be able to start rotating these guys around and give this up here a chance to grow. You can see there's a ton of grass coming in already. And 2 years ago there was no grass in this field. Last year there was a pretty good field, but it was mostly weeds. And this year I think it's going to be all good grass. But just a look. This is our first year of grazing. Cows have only been out here since September or October. I think it was October of last year. That's when we moved them over here. And I'll show you something else real quick too. We had a couple of big snowstorms. We had 2 foot of snow fell at one point. We had another 16 or 18 inches fall at another point. And you know, you gotta love your New York winters. So we had a sacrifice area where we put the round bale feeder, and we would just move it a little at a time. But start there, move it to there, move it again. We went on the other side of that little space there, and I more or less did the same thing with the broom sedge areas with the round bale feeder. It will kill your soil if you feed in a round bale all year long. It'll kill the soil all around the round bale feeder, and I'll show you right here. This is the last half a bale I gave them. I didn't give them the whole bale in it. But you can see the soil all around the round bale feeder is just tore up. There is no grass growing in this area at all. Well, there's a little bit right there. But they will destroy your soil. If you have this on your property, on your farm, you will have 20 foot all the way around your feeder that's just dead. And you see a lot of farmers do that in the wintertime. They call them sacrifice lots. They'll give them a little 2, 3, 5, 10 acre section, and they just muck it up all year long. The entire thing ends up looking like this. You don't want this. This is look. I mean, this is really wet. We've had a ton of rain and all the snow is melted, but you don't want that. I weigh 260 pounds, and if I can push that down in there a good 3-4 inches, how much do you think that 1,500, almost 2,000 pound steer up there is going to push that in? He's going in deep, and he's killing your soil. Every time they put one of those deep marks into the soil, they're killing it. But if you can spread this out, you can see here was another spot we had a round bale, another spot right there, another spot right there, another spot back there. You know, and in New York, when you get a heavy snowfall, you don't have a choice. You have to feed them the round bales in one location. You can't unroll the round bale. You can't use a creep feeder. You just have too much snow. So by moving the location of the round bale, we're more or less doing the same thing that we did out there when we unrolled it. You do have a heavier concentration of your feces and whatnot. You also have a heavier concentration of what's left over from the round bale. So it will take longer for the grass to come up through. Oh, here's another location. Another one there next to the bush. But like I was saying, you will have a heavier concentration of you know, your poop and your pee and your hay, but, and nah, I'm not going there, but it will eventually produce a better grass instead of the broom sedge and the goldenrod and the other weeds that form here on the edge of this brush. It'll be nice lush grass, and little by little you can tell the cows are destroying this this brush in here, which is great, because the more of it that dies, easier it is to get out of here, and then all of this becomes pasture land. They'll even kill trees. They'll strip the bark right off from a tree. They can have lush green grass all around them, but when they smell the sap in those trees, they will strip the bark right off the trees. Cows have a natural urge to produce more pasture land. They know what they need. You can see in here too, they are just stripping the bark off all of this stuff. It's not because they're hungry. They've been well fed. But they come through, and especially Brute and Millie, they love stripping bark. They've killed probably 20 or 30 trees on my other piece of property, which is good for my neighbor because he burns wood. But yeah, the cows will naturally produce more grassland just by stripping the bark off from the trees and the brush, killing the brush, killing the trees, and then more grass will grow up. Not to mention the fertility that they add to your soil. That's an old pie, but it's all hay and grass and good stuff right there. Good for the soil. Hope you got a little information out of this, and hopefully next time I talk to you it won't be so wet and sloppy. Have a good one.